Hi, welcome back. We are here at Battle of the All-Stars 2020, and we are preparing ourselves for Team Montana against Team Colorado. The Battle of the Rockies is about to begin.
That's right, and I am Death Nella calling for Team Colorado on this one with Tammy Gunn, who's got Team Montana, and you've been following Team Montana the entire time. What has the trajectory been for this team?
They're really squirrely, their jammers are fast, and they're full of tenacity. And a lot of these skaters have skated together for a long time.
And you've skated against them, too.
I've skated against many of them, and sometimes it's gone okay, and other times it's not gone well at all.
Yes, and being that I'm here at this BOTAS with Team Saskatchewan, we are also very familiar with Team Montana because our province is right above the state of Montana, and very recently had a little mini tournament with Team Montana in Medicine Hat, Alberta. Shout outs to the Hat. And they're just a great time. They're fun to watch. Colorado as well is one of those dynamic teams. They did lose their first game of BOTAS, and that's what brought them here. They lost to Team Massachusetts yesterday.
Yeah, and I think Team Massachusetts is kind of the sneak attack in this whole tournament. And the way Montana's gotten here is they won their first round, and then they fell last night to Pennsylvania. So I think this is going to be a great matchup overall.
Definitely, and I already saw some comments on the Twitch stream. Thanks, by the way, for joining us. Talking about how they got up early from Montana. That's right, yeah. If you're on the west side of the world, of North America right now, you are waking up even earlier than we are to be here. But it's always worth it for Derby, always.
And especially because you can sit in bed and watch it. We all know you got your phones on. We appreciate it.
All right, so quick rundown through the rosters. By the way, big shout out to Chad from New England Roller Derby Report, who is still here at the table. In fact, I don't know if he ever left. Are we able to do some quick rosters as we have only a minute to go to Derby? We'll start with Colorado, possibly. There we go. So real quick, we're going to leave the numbers out. Jams Bond, Motorbutt, Yolita Applebum is your captain. MDK Demolition, Shark Wahlberg, Blazin, X-Ray Vixen, Elise LaCraken, Vinny Vidi Vici, Diosa Azteca, my apologies, Evil X, Sunny Days, AC Slayer, Shaquilia, She Who Cannot Be Named, and Yellen Griswold, coached, of course, by Chet Cotton and Troy Ferguson.
All right, and today's roster for Team Montana, we have Mauled Whiskey, who is your captain, Foggy, O2 Tank, Sparta Crush, Stout, Special Chaos, Booty Boop, Illuminati, Brutal, Kimpact, Fallen Out, Texas Twist Her, Rin Reaper, Rex Rectum, Double D, Montucky Lucky, Party Crash Her, and Nettie.
All right, we got that all in, Tammy Gunn, right before the whistle blows. And a reminder, this is still a 40-minute bout. We are almost at the glorious 60-minute bouts of BOTAS, but not quite yet. So that means 2 halves of 20 minutes apiece. Each team gets 2 timeouts and 1 official review, which they can't retain whether they win or lose that review. And also only a max of 5 fouls per skater on this one. And to start the bout, we've got all the blockers up by the pivot line.
Looks like we're going to have a little front fight.
I like it. I like when we start a little different, change it up. Of course, all these teams having to adjust so much faster, Tammy, because of the shortened length. And I'll definitely talk to you more about that because you've been skating for Team Maine. For those who don't know, Tammy Gunn has been doing just that.
I have been skating for Team Maine, and I skated at the state in between Colorado and Montana before this for Wyoming. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic.
And it'll be Colorado out first. Evil X, a dominant jammer, but not to be outdone. Foggy with the star in hand out on her initial.
Yeah, and Foggy's one of those jammers that she is just quick.
Oh, they're all quick right now. The pack is so spread out so fast into turn 3. And that's the first jam. 4 points on the board for Colorado. None for Montana just yet. Ooh, coming out with a lot of fire today. As mentioned, Colorado falling to Team Massachusetts, and that was such a fun bout to watch. I got to do the in-house call on that one.
Looks like Montana is starting to play her down. Right now they've got Texas Twisters sitting in the box, but this is one of my favorite walls to watch. We've got Mauled Whiskey, Stout, and O2 Tank, and they are a tough bunch, and they have worked together for a long time.
And right now, number 2-3 from Montana with the star, but it's X-Ray Vixen who's out first with lead, and a Montana blocker sent to the penalty box. So pack advantage right now to the Mile High City, or state rather.
And it looks like we've got O2 Tank and Mulled Whiskey working together like they do well, but it's just not enough with the 2 blockers sitting in that penalty box.
Oh, Elise LeCracken going to the penalty box on a forearm call. Montana losing their pivot now. It's a bit of a revolving door in that Apex skate shot penalty box. Yeah.
It looks like we've got Sparta Crush is out of there, and she had that panty in her hand for a minute.
Yeah, the star in hand through the pack. The pack only made up of 4 blockers right now, 2 apiece from each team. So already lots of penalties at the start. And you know what? That did hurt. That has hurt, rather, teams this tournament so far. So tell me a bit about, Tammy, tell me a bit about that abbreviated play. What's sort of the most important thing to remember when you're playing kind of a shortened game?
You know, I think every jam matters. You don't have that jam where you can shake it off so much. It's like you have to shake it off immediately. There's not that, okay, let's reassess time. Every jam really, really counts, and you kind of forget that.
Especially when you start going to the penalty box and you're like, okay, I guess I'm out here for another jam. Well, every minute counts. Oh, my goodness, look at this one-on-one showdown over here.
And it's falling out, getting lead jam.
Yeah, that was Sunny Days from Colorado, proving she can hold things down right at the top. Pack speeding up yet again, almost at full strength. 3-on-3 blockers as Fallen Out comes to collect some points. Oh my goodness, Colorado running away, trying to save, and it worked this time.
Well, I would like to give a shout out right now to Slim Hitman, a good friend of mine who is blowing up this feed, and she says, Montana, you don't get these penalties, and she gets to play with you a lot, so she's given big props. She knows these skaters, and she knows they're just kind of getting the cobwebs out.
Ooh.
But in this short game, they've got just a few minutes to do that.
There's nothing like watching from home and knowing the skaters and knowing what they're capable of doing and rooting for them as well. So here we have interesting setup yet again on the near the pivot line, but 3-on-3 with a good assist there by Jams Bond to open up the outside lane for Colorado.
And that Montana's jammer looks like the helmet cover is off and the pivot has it in hand, and they are fighting it out in the front.
That's right. Meanwhile, Double D, that's Yolita Applebaum for Colorado, being told to call off the jam, does just that. As Jams Bond, however, sent to the penalty box on an illegal contact call. And we've got an official timeout being called, I do believe. So in that time, we want to give a big shout out to the Bucksmont Roller Derby Dolls. If you're wondering why you've heard that name a lot this weekend, well, they're the hosts, the gracious hosts of Battle of the All-Stars, and they've been hosting BOTAS for the last 8 years. So thank you to Bucksmont. You're fantastic. And in fact, Bucksmont, interesting fact about the hyphen is that they were created by these 2 separate sort of districts that came together, and so Bucks is part of one name and Mont is part of the other.
Well, that makes perfect sense to me because have been so far away from this side of the world in a while. I like to find these little facts.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So thank you, by the way, for joining us on this Twitch stream brought to you by New England Roller Derby Report, the phenomenal Chad, and production sponsor Sociopath. Of course, you can always get in on the conversation. Where Wi-Fi on the phones here's a little spotty, but hashtag BOTAS 2020 with all your great moments, including during my last call, the maggot crawl. That was a lot of fun.
And it looks like we've got a skater being replaced in the penalty box.
That was Jams Bond we just saw skating right across the track. We'll try to find out that information as soon as we have it. Does look like Colorado coach Chet Cotton is speaking with Coach Troy Ferguson to decipher what's going on. There is a replacement skater in the penalty box, though. Yes, it does look like Jams Bond is out of the bout.
I'm not sure if I don't think she's out of the bout. I think she had a modified jersey.
That's what it is.
And that they are making amendments to her jersey so that they're playing within the standards of WFTDA.
That is true. You are correct, as Jams Bond is now in amongst the crowd, quickly fixing up the jersey. I do know that at one point there was some discussion earlier about finding like a little sewing kit. So I think something may have just needed some repatching.
Yeah, it's always the tough thing, and you can't just play roller derby. You have to be a jack of all trades, and as we can see, James Bond is doing. There's a little bit of sewing work on the sideline, so kudos to that.
And to the commenter, ask him a modified jersey. Her jersey.
She had a number that was just a block of fabric that had been pinned, I believe, to the back of her jersey, and I think because it was flapping around that it needed to be more flush on the jersey to prevent any injury or getting hands, fingers, etc. caught up and hindering the game.
In the meantime, though, Foggy from Montana taking that bit of a break on the sidelines and using it in good speed to take lead jammer and putting first points on the board for Montana.
Yeah, first points on the board. Foggy, there she is. That's the girl that we know and love. She's definitely got those cobwebs off, and she's ready to go.
Meanwhile, Elise LeCracken and Sunny Days holding things down for Colorado as finally full strength back for Colorado on the blocking line. We have a back block penalty, though, assessed right as Captain Yolita Applebaum was released from the penalty box right back in. It's Vinny Vici with the star for Colorado.
And that Montana wall was right there waiting for her. It looks like Illuminati is going to try to play a little bit of offense and maintain that pack. She's so good at doing that. She's such a thoughtful player.
We have another multiplayer call, this time on Elise LeCracken, and a multiplayer on one of the Montana skaters.
Goodness. That is
It's number 4.
Montucky Lucky right there. Geez, it looks like that penalty box, those seats are going to be warm.
They have been warm all morning, all weekend so far. This is day 3 of BOTAS Game 3. Colorado taking on Montana, Jam 3.
Oh, and it looks like Illuminati is going to go to the box with that pivot stripe on.
Wow, just those whistles blowing. It has been nonstop.
Oh.
Montana down to 1 blocker on the track.
Special Chaos has got her work cut out for her, and she's going to rise to that occasion and give it all.
Oh, and does just that with a knockout, but unable, of course, to drive Vinny Vici all the way back, but it's enough of a slowdown. And right as we say that, it appears that a back block has been called on Elise LeCracken. My goodness.
I think that's 3 for her.
And there's only a maximum of 5.
And
we haven't even reached the 5-minute mark, or rather, we've just passed the 5-minute mark in this game.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Colorado. And I feel as though I should have been taking a little bit more tally marks on notes right now, because it's not that Montana hasn't been in that box too.
And yeah, just a heads up, I know there's lots of discussion about James Bond. That skater will return to the bench once those modifications have been made, but is still, from our view right now, working to sew on that number feverishly as Jam 6 starts with number 2-5 from Colorado. That's Shark Wahlberg with the star for the first time this bout. And number 2-3 from Montana.
Sparta Crush. Yep, gets right out in front.
Picks up lead. Oh, the crowd is loving this game. This is the energy we want to see. We're no longer the Breakfast Club.
Oh. Looks like both teams are they're excited and kind of thinking about they need to gather their chi, if you will.
Yes.
get their zen back.
And now is a good time, Tammy, because the penalty box is completely empty for one of the rare moments in this game so far. Reminder that our penalty box is sponsored by Apex Skate Shop, which is located right here at Inline 309 in Hatfield, Pennsylvania. However, if you're watching from home, which we know you are, you can also find them online at www.apexskateshop.com.
And it looks like we had a question right here on the feed, too, and somebody said, is that uniform malfunction something that could be caught? Unfortunately, when you get to these tournaments, sometimes jerseys get messed up, and you kind of have to make the best of it. And when those numbers aren't screen printed on it, it can make it real difficult to stay on.
And once again, Montana losing blockers. This time the pivot sent on a direction of play call is falling out from Montana, is now in scoring range.
No, and an interesting thing about Folly is her mom is also on this team. So, Nettie. So we've got
fantastic.
A mom-daughter team, and it's kind of lovely to see.
It is lovely to see. I mean, we always talk about aged-up juniors, but there's plenty of senior skaters out there who started as senior skaters and have the generational love of Derby, and a timeout by Colorado. I would say taken at exactly the right time. These teams, as you know, only get they get 2 for these 40-minute games plus an additional clock stoppage in the form of an OR.
And right now we're tied at 11 minutes and 48 seconds in. This is the 7th jam.
I didn't even realize that, Tammy. Yeah, 22 apiece. And a quick shout out to Spank Alley, the only fully adjustable roller derby armbands on the market. They also ship worldwide. So my friends in Canada, you can check them out at www.spankalley.com.au.
Yeah. So I think that Colorado called that timeout so they could regroup and gather their thoughts and try to prevent Montana from having a run like that.
Yeah, and I mean, Colorado really now being on the chase instead of being the leaders, which they're so used to, kind of a different play here. So we are seeing your chat. Thank you, by the way, for joining us on the Nur Derby Twitch stream. It really is fantastic. Also, shout out to Peter, who's operating the camera, the main camera here, but there's also Final Straw on the camera, operating the camera that shows the straightaway, which is what you're seeing right now.
And we've got this start. It looks like there's some shuffling going on. Oh, and there's an illegal procedure.
And that will cost.
She has to
yield.
Yield, and
and a penalty. Okay, interesting.
I think what happened there was she did not yield fast enough, and you know that's a tough break for O2 Tank. I think she knew what she did, and when you're thinking quick and your adrenaline's high, it's easy to make that mistake.
And that's why teams like Colorado do that when you know the game and you're able to do those pivot line issues. And that's the jam. Now each team has a blocker in the box. We'll see where that lands for points. Were there any awarded?
0 points.
Looks like ref Stray Taco is having a little chat on the inside. We'll see.
I believe that Montana got 2 as per the head ref.
Yes, that is correct. They have 2. Now, on our in-house score clock, one side doesn't always pop up the jammer numbers. So if you're wondering why we're asking, sometimes that's why.
Sometimes we just have to look at the hand and hope for the best. And that's Foggy coming right out hot, trying to get O2 Tank back in the game.
Foggy has just been an amazing skater to watch this season with an incredible effort, as I said, in that mini tournament playing against Team Saskatchewan. Oh, and we have an illegal contact penalty assessed to the Colorado pivot. That's number 6 Vinny Vidivici.
I think they're trying to call Foggy on a track cut. However, I don't believe that was a cut because a penalty was called on the play.
Although Foggy is getting a forearm call this time, and so it is a power jam for Colorado's MDK Demolition. Although MDK just getting recycled and drawn back, O2 Tank putting in the work there at the back of the pack.
Yeah, and just setting it up for that really tough brace in the front so that they can pull it back together and make that tripod. But
and there's the space for MDK Demolition, star in hand. This is only MDK's initial, so only now in scoring range while Foggy is already standing in the penalty box.
And this is going to be, we're going to run out the last 50 seconds of this jam.
Oh, and it looks like there was, apparently a direction of play call on O2 Tank, but it also looked like MDK wasn't properly balanced while still trying to get the star on her helmet. Foggy already out, picking up points. Proof again that even if you get that jammer penalty, you hustle out and you can beat that other jammer for points.
And then Shihu just came out of the box really hot and pushed her jammer right through. And usually when I come out of the box, I think about creating offense by hitting another player. I never thought about coming in just to give your jammer a shove. That's a fantastic
idea. It's the
idea.
little things that, you're going to take that and run with it. That was fantastic. MDK Demolition through with 4 points for Colorado. This game's still very tight as Elise LeCracken tries to slow down.
And Foggy just danced right through those front 3 Colorado blockers for another 4 points. And that gives Montana their first lead.
And it's a big one. That was a 16-point jam for Montana. Really great work by Foggy there, 38-32. We only have, once the screen clears, 8 minutes and 33 seconds, as right now an OR, it appears, has been called.
Yeah, it looks like Colorado is going to do that. And I'm curious if it's on this track cut up front, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll take a look. probably is. They felt very strongly about that, Tammy.
Well, I always have my questions whether, it's the which came first, the chicken or the egg. But if a penalty is what pushed her out, then in fact she's not cutting a person going to the penalty box.
Exactly. So we want to give a shout out to 888. Derby is not your typical sport. It's more like a carefully choreographed mosh pit on wheels, and that's why we make protective gear specially designed for those who lay it all out there on the track, like Montana and Colorado. 888 covers heads, elbows, wrists, knees, hips, and yes, even butts, because being derby ready is one thing, being derby dominant is another. So check out 888 at their website, www.888.com. You can find them on Instagram. Woo!
Well, looks
lots
like
of shout outs. Also, Tammy, look who's in the middle. Those are our fantastic officials. Big shout out, lots of love to the skating and non-skating officials here at Battle of the All-Stars.
Yep, we couldn't do it without them. We would just be herding cats.
Yes. And as much as we love cats, I love my cats. I miss them.
On this fantastic Catter Day that we're having, there's been a lot of attire.
Okay, I'm going to get the information here.
Perfect. Well, while she's getting that information, we do have a shout out to give to the back alley skate rats from your coach who's missing your practice right now. But it appears that he's a little bit busy coaching Team Montana, but he's thinking of you very, very much.
So we just got the information. It looks like Colorado won that review, despite obviously you can't retain any of your reviews in these 40 minutes of play. But they were looking for an out-of-play block on Foggy, and they got it. And I think I know exactly the point that they're talking about. It was right at the end when she had the final few blockers to pass. They were already out of play. Colorado had their hands up, and Foggy went in for a hit. So that is going to give Colorado the power start as we head into jam number 10.
And it looks like our friend James Bond is back in action.
Yes, out there on the track. Good timing.
And
they created the no pack, the backward split pack. That will certainly draw some penalties. We'll see on who.
And that looks like there was a team hug out there.
It was James Bond trying to keep AC Slayer in bounds.
I don't think I've seen such a thing before.
James Bond, though, being assessed a penalty off to the penalty box.
Looks like Stout's going to go in for a forearm on that. I think it's tough when you take that time because you have a gear malfunction, whether it's a toe stop, your jersey, or what have you.
Yep.
Your energy goes up so high, and you just don't know how to contain it once you get back to the track.
Exactly. And Foggy now getting by Blazin, which is a tough call, but she did. Star in hand. An interesting decision to put the star in hand since she clearly was not going to be able to do the star pass in that scenario with the pivot so far ahead. Already re-engaging for another scoring trip to the pack. Both jammers, AC Slayer for Colorado, getting through now for 4 points.
And it looks like Foggy just picked up 4 right behind her. It is. We've got another lead change.
We do have another lead change, but we'll see where things land as soon as this jam is called. Coach Chet Cotton saying, please call it off, but...
And it looks like Montana picked up 2 more.
All right, so Montana has lead.
I am really glad I'm not the one keeping score.
Thank goodness there are machines for that.
Right.
Montana 44, Colorado 40, but a great effort by Colorado there. 8 points. Montana, though, picking up 6. It is heating up. It is heating up.
Oh, and we've got one of each team in the box right now. Looks like the captain, Mulled Whiskey, is sitting in there.
And right now, yeah, that is...
Volley falling out, coming in hot.
Yolita Applebaum already being assessed. Lead jammer status coming in to collect points against Colorado. Meanwhile, Elise LeCracken holding things down against Fallen Out.
And it looks like they kept...
James Bond coming back on the track, being a difference maker already.
Looks like Folly's taken the star off her head, but she's not ready to hand it off quite yet.
It worked well, though, created just enough of a distraction to create some space between James Bond and Moore.
And it looks like Folly got 1 point on, 2 points
2
on
points.
that.
Yeah, Colorado's got to watch that. They can't get lazy thinking, and I'm not saying they're lazy, sorry, but they can't get to that point where they think that their jammer is able to call it off. And I know that those points were collected on the backmost blockers, obviously on the pack. Colorado, though, with a great effort, 12 points.
And we're going to start a 3-on-3 blocker lines.
Sorry, and now's the lead change, Tammy Gunn. 52-46. We're going to get into jam 12 with 5 minutes left on the game clock.
Geez, they should take our blood pressure right now just to see where it's at.
We see you commentators saying, holy penalties, that's right. It has been a penalty-heavy game so far. I'm actually going to go check the penalty numbers at the very short half that we have, which is coming up very soon. An out-of-play hit there. I wonder if that'll cost. It will. It'll cost Sunny Days a trip to the penalty box.
And Sparta Crush is out in front. She was playing smart there. She waited for that penalty to be assessed.
And Sparta Crush now on the power jam as Evil X assessed a penalty.
And she does a little spin right by Shihu, and that is not an easy thing to do. But that full 4 Montana wall sitting right there trying to
very
pull somebody
effective.
back.
Oh my goodness, goading blazing.
And you've got Stout there looking as vicious as she always does.
It was phenomenal work by Team Montana to provide offense without running the pack and creating unnecessary speed right as Evil X is released from the penalty box and recycled into that straightaway.
And it looks like Sparta Crush pulls a penalty in the front.
Evil X stays inbound. Sparta Crush is still on the track and with 4 points, so still has lead. There's 38 seconds left in this jam, and it's been a big one for Montana. Oh! Closing the door there, number 3.
That was special chaos. That was a big hit to save her point. And that's what you got to do sometimes.
What an effort by Evil X. My gosh, 2 more points there for Montana. Brings it up to 14-point jam and a lead change. 60-52. Tammy Gunn. Woo!
Oh, my goodness.
Who's awake?
I'm awake. I'm glad I
We're
took my sweatshirt off and went down to 1 layer. And again, it's Montana's strong 4-wall right out there, but and this Illuminati puts her out. Looks like they're going to draw her back.
And what great timing as James Bond tries to slow down Rin Reaper, but not fast enough. Rin with lead jammer status as Vinny Vidi Vici is drawn all the way back by Montucky Lucky.
Oh, and it looks like Rin is getting pulled back too. Jeez, this is an incredible battle. But
it's just back and forth and very fast.
And Rin just spins around James Bond. That's not easy.
And Vinny Vidi Vici is in scoring position. Already gets her hips past those blockers. Not sure. Oh, it makes sense for Montana to keep running it as there are 2 Colorado blockers seated in the penalty box right now.
And she calls it off after she clears that box. So looks like Montana's going to start this. Oh, actually, Montana's going to start with 3 blockers and Colorado's going to start with 2.
So hopefully it'll be an advantage for Montana in this case. That's what they're hoping for anyway.
Yeah, it looks like
what
we've
an
got
effort.
Double D, Mulled Whiskey, and Stout out there kind of coming up with their plan.
Oh, someone on the stream just said my favorite way of describing things, woof, this game, that's right. That's how I feel too. It is a roller coaster. I'm Death Nella, by the way, joined by Tammy Gunn, and we're so excited that you're here watching Battle of the All-Stars 2020, Day 3. My goodness, Day 3, Game 3, and yet it still feels like the first one for me because I'm just so excited.
Well, I feel like we've just moved into this venue.
Yeah.
I mean, we've spent enough time in here, and we've gotten to know it. We're just going to take selfies over here.
No big deal with Chad from Nerd Derby. And a very quick shout out to 187 Killer Pads. They've been designing and constructing pads for top professional athletes for the past decade. Started by a longtime skater and a family-owned upholstery shop, 187 Killer Pads has since become the preferred choice for skaters worldwide.
Looks like we're having one of those little meetings with the refs and the coaches and captains right now, trying to figure out who's right.
There is a discussion, by the way, if you're just joining us or perhaps only listening in on the audio feed, we are just shy of 2 minutes left, 1:59 on the game clock. Montana leading over Colorado 67-55. This is an official timeout winding down.
We just got we just got a little post that made me giggle. Somebody just posted, "I need a beer," and that's fine. I can.
You're
relate
not
to
wrong.
that.
You're not wrong.
And if you're at home on this lovely Saturday, we won't judge you one bit.
Wow, Jams Bond and Sunny Days holding things down for Colorado is the only two Colorado blockers out there right now. And look at that, Yolita Applebaum. And she's got some friends joining her on the track.
Oh, that's a good feeling coming in that hot.
Oh, meanwhile, Jams Bond, though, sent to the penalty box, but certainly a difference maker. Oh!
And Foggy,
Oh!
I think Colorado got excited to see their friends, and that made the pack just kind of implode and send the jammer to the pack, giving Foggy a power jam.
That's right. Yolita Applebaum is seated once again in the penalty box. I do believe that's at least penalty number 3. There's only 5 per skater allowed in these 40-minute games. We haven't even reached the halftime. So this will be a full 2-minute jam. Foggy weaving through laterally, getting by Sunny Days.
And it looks like this is going to be the last jam of the half.
Jams Bond now settling in at the back of the pack for Colorado. Oh, and effective enough, although does get knocked all the way out. Foggy, though, not realizing that, and then instead going all the way back behind Sunny Days.
And, you know, that's a tough call as a jammer when you're just not sure. Even it took the 5 seconds to pull her back, but 30 seconds in that penalty box will get you every time, and that's way worse.
100%, Tammy. Couldn't say it better. Oh, and we have Yolita Applebaum ending up on her knees right into her own blocker. But, hey, out with 4 points for Colorado as we have 17 seconds left on this jam.
And we're going to see if Yolita Applebaum is going to make a pass for this. Try to get
Certainly
those
going to try, yeah. And does manage to do so on the inside there, turn 3, but knocked in by number 3-6 on Montana.
Double D right there.
Very effective drawback. Soul-crushing drawback, if you will. And with that whistle, we are into intermission, Tammy Gunn. Thank you all for listening, Tammy Gunn and Death Nella. We are going to continue the Colorado-Montana call right after this very short intermission. And first, New England Roller Derby Report would like to thank their production sponsors, Sociopath. It's a skater-run business offering size-inclusive leggings and shorts designed to fit you with 7 different lengths and pockets. Sociopath is sure to have a style that works for your body. There's team colors, custom prints, and group discounts available. Also offering dozens of armband and helmet cover options. Please see sociopath.ca/NERD for 10% off your next order.
All right, we'll be back in a minute. Welcome back to this incredibly exciting game versus Team Colorado and Team Montana here at Battle of the All-Stars. This is Tammy Gunn, and I'm here with Dethnella, and we are nervous and excited. There's laughter, there's tears right now.
There's all sorts of feelings, and we know that you feel the same back home, especially because you guys are fans, like dedicated fans of these teams, whereas I'm just always fanning on all the teams. Fangirling.
I know. I like to think that I cheer for everybody. And back to the tears thing, my team's probably laughing at me because they're like, Tammy Gunn's going to cry because I'm one of those people.
You're one of those
I'm happy,
people?
sad. I just cry. So
speaking of a mix of emotions, I'm sure there's a lot of skaters right now trying to dial in and check in because of the penalty situation. We talked about heavy penalties. It certainly hurt Colorado yesterday in that bout against Team Massachusetts. So in total, though, it is actually Team Montana who has more as a team, 22 to Colorado's 21 total penalties, and this is just in a 20-minute half. That's the other thing you have to remember. But the only real skater in danger of possibly fouling out, reaching those 5 fouls, is number 88 on Colorado, who is She Who Cannot Be Named. She Who Cannot Be Named, unfortunately, can be called to the penalty box, and so has to watch out. But otherwise, the most anyone on Montana has right now is 3, so just got to check in. I mean, that's what those breaks are for, even if it is only a 5-minute one, Tammy.
All right, yeah, and it looks like we're going to start Team Montana with Foggy on the line. We've got Texas Twister, Double D, and Nettie lined up, trying to figure out if there's going to be some offense, but everything's just bubbling back to the line.
And your halftime starting score is Montana in the lead, 74 to Colorado, 61, only 13 points separating these teams.
Oh, and that was a fantastic hit right there by Special Chaos, just to give Foggy that advantage. But looks like Evil X is right behind her.
And the pack is speeding up. It's definitely to the advantage of Evil X for that case, and Montana is settling in the back. So Evil X is going to take the apex. He's going to land it, but it's also going to go in pretty hard against that Montana blocker. But legal and safe, 4 points up for Colorado.
And Foggy calls it off, and we're going to see if she made some points. She did. She got all 4, too.
All right. I mean, that's going to be Montana's game, is either at least matching those points or making sure Colorado doesn't get any more on the board. I know it seems simple to say that, but Tammy, as you know, as a skater, it's not always that easy.
You don't have eyes in the back of your head, and if you did, your helmet would be covering it anyway. So there's always that. You got to have your head on a swivel. Geez, and line up, it looks like we have an advantage for Team Montana, but looks like the jammer coming out. Sparta Crush is in the back, and she's fighting a really tough tripod.
Exactly. AC Slayer, a very seasoned skater here, is coming up on that Montana wall, just picking apart the seams as now Montana has to break and bridge, but in all that mess, turns out Sparta Crush able to get lead.
And then Montana's just trying to regroup. It looks like AC Slayer is just breaking up their wall, but they're doing a great job recycling and just putting it back together. And Stout and Mauld are just notorious for doing that. Just keeping together and keeping calm. And it's everything that Sparta Crush needed to get a 4-point champ.
And there we go. More points on the board for Montana. Maintains their lead so far as James Bond is released from the penalty box for Team Colorado.
And Sparta Crush makes another scoring lap.
Oh, and just like that, a gorgeous star pass to James Bond, who I guess must have called for it, saying, I'm free, I'm your pivot, give me that star, and it worked out just well for Colorado there.
And it looks like Sparta Crush gets through, makes a little hop over that apex. She's done that before, a lot in this tournament actually, and calls it off just to keep that score down on Colorado.
A big shout out to Montana's defense, especially in that last jam. I noticed it. I'm sure they've been doing it the whole time. There's just a different kind of focus with Montana. They came to BOTAS. I know it came to BOTAS to play, yeah, but they really did come to play. And right as we say that, there's an official timeout just to adjust make sure that all the scores are good.
Yep,
Tam,
there's fingers coming up everywhere. We're all counting.
exactly. Tammy, tell me a bit about this venue and the floor and all that. I just want to get that perspective.
Well, you know, if it's not your floor, you're not used to it, and that's just how it goes. I think that I always bring all my wheels, and then I get terrified. And I go out there, and I skate a couple laps, and I'm like, oh, I have the wrong wheels, and then I just keep the same ones on. It's just adapting and overcome. It's a different surface. I think this is unique sport court. I've played on the kind more often than not with the holes in it, but they've managed to keep it real clean, and it is what it is. You can't change it. It's like you can't make the sun shine every day.
No, you are definitely right. I just always like to get that perspective for people at home who are maybe like, what is that? Because not everyone skates on the same types of floors, that's for sure.
Oh, I complain about every floor, no matter what it is. But you know,
oh, it's definitely the floor's fault that I missed that.
Oh, and it looks like it looks like Texas Twister was.
Woo!
She came right out after that.
That was incredible.
And
but
then Folly's right behind.
X-Ray Vixen though out in front with lead. Yeah, Foggy falling out rather, not even a half lap behind, and Colorado having to speed up big time. Did protect their points in that one, so Colorado picks up 3 points for that jam. And once again, I really appreciated seeing, I'm sure referees have been doing this for a long time, Tammy, but a lot of the jam refs here at BOTAS this year are wrapping around the black tape on the fingers and to make it easier to see.
I appreciate all the things the refs do, but when they call clean and they call concise and very flagrantly, because then you can just see it, and it makes it clear for the people scoring points as well as the players.
Oh, wow. What a perfect run down the inside for Colorado. But Rin Reaper of Montana, so close. Pack speeding up. Fast Derby. We're here for it. We maybe didn't see it all the time at Champs, but we're certainly seeing it here at BOTAS
we've been seeing it all weekend, and it looks like that. The Team Montana is doing a great job of staying connected to each other. So in the instance that Shark Wahlberg catches up, they're going to be there for each other.
Oh, and we see the crowd getting excited because all of that action wrapped up right there by turn 4 in front of the crowd. And I see 1 in the air for Colorado. Wow, chipping away.
I think that is a 1 in the air for Montana.
Does look actually, Tammy, it does appear actually Montana has been kept scoreless for the second jam in a row, which is rare in this bout.
I was looking for that magical tape finger, so.
That magical tape finger belongs to Colorado this time. Or is there a change? Yes, we will see. Anyhow, to start this jam 5, Montana 90, Colorado 69. Lead has been assessed to Foggy, but it is now Evil X out of the pack as Foggy is recycled all the way back. Told to call it because rather be safe.
Going to keep these points the best they can. I mean, this is only a 21-point spread with just under 15 minutes left to go in this half, and that's not much, as we just saw in the last game. Who did we see? Freight Train. Who else would we see just score a jam like that? What was it? I think she had 7 scoring passes in one jam. So this is anybody's game.
It really is. I love Derby for that reason. We are starting jam number 6, Sparta Crush with a star for Montana, MDK Demolition for Colorado, 90-69 Montana leading.
And they are getting both jammers struggling to get through these really tough walls and just getting swallowed together.
Yeah, look at that pack. It's so compressed, so close to one another here in turn 1, right in front of the announcer table.
And it looks like we have a penalty for Jam's Bond, so Montana's playing up 1 blocker, which, it looks like O2 Tank's trying to keep people going back. There's so much happening right in front of me right now. I'm overwhelmed.
That is a tough break for Jam's Bond, who is rocking the pivot stripe in the penalty box. I can definitely see it's affecting her. But back to what's happening. Jam is now almost half done. No lead has been assessed.
And it looks like O2 Tank has created just enough offense for Sparta Crush to get out. I always wonder what they're saying when they're in those packs.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if it's praying, and sometimes I wonder if you're just like, I love you guys.
All it is lots and lots of communication. You can tell by the effectiveness of it all, at least the Kraken getting knocked out there by O2 Tank, having to recycle back.
And it looks like another 4 clean points for Sparta Crush.
Oh, but the Colorado pivot now seated in the penalty box. And if you're wondering why Jams Bond hasn't returned to the track, it does appear that she has reached her 5-foul limit.
And Sparta Crush for another 4. It's I'm surprised that Montana's gonna not call this jam off. They're feeling good enough to let Sparta Crush keep running it for points, and I think that was an excellent decision for their coach. And then he changed, and right as I said that, Bushwhacker goes, "No, actually, I can't take this. Just call it off. Let's be safe."
But Montana now past that century mark, 102 to 73. That is a decent-sized lead in a game like this. And when I say game like this, talking about that shortened 40-minute play, we are already almost at the halfway point of the second half. Colorado, if you're wondering how they ended up in this bout against Montana just taking a team timeout, they lost to Team Massachusetts yesterday in their first game of play at Battle of the All-Stars 2020, while Montana fell to Team Pennsylvania. Oh, what a game that was.
That was a great game to watch, and you know there was a lot of smiles in it, and I also appreciated that Team Pennsylvania did ask Team Montana to be their Valentines, which was quite adorable. And again, I may have gotten, it may have not been a full cry, but there were certainly tears. And it does appear that Jams Bond has been asked to leave the track. And
unfortunately, Jams Bond has fouled out. And you know what? This has been such a tough game for a great skater. Loved seeing Jams Bond's performance, especially in yesterday's bout. Despite the loss, was exactly where she needed to be on the track. Very exciting skater to watch. Came to Colorado from Kansas. But unfortunately, it was a rocky road from the get-go.
But yeah, and when you have that moment when you have to be taken off for an equipment failure like that, it's really hard to just come in and have that sense of being settled, because you've just gotten so frantic so quickly trying to do something you were not prepared for.
We're seeing so much love for Team Montana, and also some official love for Scully out here, one of the OPRs. We'll certainly pass that on to Scully. We appreciate your comments and thoughts as you're watching.
Oh, and
yeah, that's Yolita Applebaum with lead and quickly for Colorado.
And Folly's going to be as fast as she can behind her.
Oh,
and
Yolita Applebaum, though, knows she's got to put on not only the speed but the power, too. Outlapping, falling out right now, and deciding to call it. Interesting decision, I guess. You want to try to get as many jams as you can in the time that's remaining.
And I think my guess is that Colorado is going to do what they're really good at, is those little chip away 4-point jams. If they're going to get lead, they're just going to let those blockers sit on that Montana jammer and try to get a couple 4 points and call it off. Sometimes those big jams don't always win games. I mean, there's plenty of time to do a couple little guys in there.
And speaking of which, we are going to enter into Jam 8 of the second half with just over 11 minutes left in game play. And wow, Evil X able to take advantage of the inside lane wide open. Already in scoring range as Rin Reaper is brought back, star in hand. Evil X with 4 points.
And looks like we've got Double D out. She has obtained the star.
Oh!
Going to pull it over that strike.
What an apex jump there by Evil X, mostly because there was no slowing down. Double D getting locked down. Oh!
And she's
okay,
gonna
what?
take.
Evil X doesn't even care.
Remember what I said about those little jams? I lied.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to take it for all the points now. As the Apex would say, let's open this pit up.
Well, I think Montana is just trying to slow it down to play their game. Yep, and you can hear Coach right through these headphones saying, get on defense.
Yeah, this is not how Montana has played before. So despite Team Montana being the one calling that last time out, it looks like it really has benefited Colorado, who has already doubled the points just on this jam, 16-8 right now, and there might even be some more issued. Yes, it does appear so.
Yep, and it looks like Team Montana only picked up 4 on that.
Yeah, so the big jam win there for Colorado, 17-8. So Montana's sitting at 110, Colorado at 94. And there's still plenty of time in this game. It's only 9 minutes, 32 seconds left on the game clock. Colorado picking up steam, picking up momentum.
And we've got Foggy back on the line, and looks like that we've got this Montana defense is taking a deep breath and thinking to slow it down to play their game.
Yeah, meanwhile, X-Ray Vixen with the star for Colorado. A no-pack situation called, and that will net Sunny Days a multiplayer.
And you've got Foggy out in front with 2 Colorado blockers on that track and 2 filling up that apex spot. Penalty box.
I think they heard you, Tammy. This Montana line sticking together way better this time as X-Ray Vixen still fighting to get through. An illegal contact call being issued on a Colorado blocker, and as well Montana losing a blocker as well. This pack thinning out pretty quick here.
And Foggy is just trying to be methodical, smart, and safe. Take advantage of this.
Oh, and look at that. This is
And
not what Colorado wants to see. X-Ray Vixen sent to the penalty box on a misconduct?
That's what happens when they make these calls so far away from us. And Foggy's going to call it off so that Team Montana gets to start with a power jam. And it looks like it is going to be a 2-on-2 blocker setup.
Does appear so, as now each team. What was that? Was that a yawn? I am so sorry. Each team has a standing blocker and a sitting blocker. I'm certainly not sleepy at all. I don't know what that was about. Not enough oxygen. Yeah, Chad yelling at me. No yawning. We've got a
Not
stream.
enough air, we're talking too much.
We've got a stream to do. Look at that interesting start on the pivot line.
Yeah, you've got Double D and Mulled Whiskey just going to let
no pack. Yeah, that worked
Spartacrush
really
do
well.
all the work.
Very effective. Sorry, Tammy. I know
We're excited.
Yeah.
Special Chaos just joined the pack, and Spartacrush has the lead again.
Wow. Great O there by the Montana pivot. Actually creating space, but that does cost her a trip to the penalty box on a direction of play call.
And Montana doing their best just to stay in front, but...
Ooh, that was crispy. Spartacrush. No, X-Ray Vixen, rather, staying on the inside lane, out on her initial.
Spartacrush is going to call it off before she even gets a chance.
But that was really great work by X-Ray Vixen to come out of the penalty box with some fire. Now, the penalty box in this at Battle of the All-Stars is in between turns 1 and 2. It's actually a really great spot. If your blockers can hold back the other jammer, you can rejoin really quickly, and in this case, it worked out well for Colorado.
Gosh, and the score right now with 6.5 minutes left, Colorado 96, Montana is up 125.
6.5 minutes left on that game clock, so still time for Colorado to make a difference. Oh, AC Slayer.
She took down Illuminati. That is not an easy thing to do.
Oh,
but Folly comes right out and makes her call it off.
Really great work by Montana. The focus here, it's great coaching as well happening on the Montana side. Knowing the plan, it seems, every time you step out on the track. And it's not that Colorado doesn't do a phenomenal job of that. We're just not seeing them get to play their game in this bout.
And it looks like we've got O2 and Mauled out there, and geez, this is a tough start.
On the pivot line, and it's a race up ahead for Yolita Applebum, who usually does very well with that momentum, but it's going to be, Rin Reaper with the star from Montana. No one has been assessed lead yet.
And Rin Reaper just, wow, Colorado just swallowed her right there and just made a very traditional tripod and just swallowed her with it. But it looks like we've got a star pass, and that's
what you got to do.
That's going to go to Double D.
And you know what? Colorado hasn't even had a chance to employ that strategy when they haven't had lead because they've been so caught up in the Montana defense. So the fact that Double D was able to get the star so effectively is pretty great. But at least the Kraken now also being drawn back. Yolita Applebum through with 4 points for Colorado.
And it looks like we've got Rin Reaper in the box. I'm glad that she got rid of that star so that jammer didn't have to sit.
Oh, and Elise Kraken also taking a seat in the penalty box along with 919 for Team Colorado, who is Yellen Griswold.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how many penalties that is for Elise the Kraken. I feel like she kind of had a run there at the beginning. She had 3. She was the one who had 3 in that first 5 minutes there.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. There's still 4.5 minutes left on the game clock. But this pack is just thinning out. Montana sending another blocker to the penalty box. Meanwhile, Colorado is going to start with only 1 blocker in the next jam. Yeah, time for a timeout.
Yeah.
Coach Chet Cotton of Colorado deciding to
do we
use that.
appreciate that? Goodness, that was a lot going on there. But I think it looks like our NSOs, who are doing a fantastic job over there, they might have to have the calculator out just to make sure they're getting everything right.
It is looking like there's some
she
discussion.
did it again.
There is some discussion over substituting some players out of the penalty box, as some of these skaters have reached that 5 penalty limit in the 40 minutes of play. Thank you, by the way, for joining us here live from Hatfield, Pennsylvania on the Twitch stream provided by New England Roller Derby Report. We're seeing lots of love for Chad and Nerd, and it's so true. This really is one of, if not the best dang derby stream out there. Very smoothly run by someone who likely hasn't slept in weeks, and I'm very impressed by it all. Oh no, Chad says he's slept.
He just hasn't slept all that
Maybe
much.
he's sleeping right now just with his eyes open. Some people are really good at that.
I do want to take this opportunity to give a shout out to Magic City. Yesterday I mentioned that there was only one WFTDA team in Montana, and that was Gallatin, and I was corrected by one Miss Lethal Lizzie, so a big shout out to her, and thank you, and I miss your face. Hope to see you at this tournament next year.
Lethal Lizzie giving you a shout out there, Tammy, saying, hey.
Oh
I'm
my goodness,
listening.
oh my gosh, she felt that. That was amazing. And we're back in action here. Oh, and it looks like Foggy doing what Foggy does, jumping right out of that pack, but Evil X is right behind her.
Well, it doesn't look like Elise LeCracken was fouled out because she's back on the track. Finally, Colorado with some people, that is going to cost Evil X. That was certainly a leg block. A power jam for Team Montana. Not a good sign for Colorado fans.
Oh, and Bushwhacker is hollering at his team. And
does he ever not holler? Come on.
But he smiles when he does it.
I know, you can't even be mad. Yeah, lots of energy from the coach. A forearm call on a Montana. That's on a Montana blocker. I can't see the number there, but.
And Foggy is just driving and driving, and she knows this is what it is. This is what you train for.
Now that is a blocking line, though I would not want to come up against. It is anchored by Sunny Days of Colorado with the pivot stripe as well.
No,
Sunny Days has been all over the track.
Nightmares made of.
Yeah,
right there.
Whoa! Evil X able to capitalize on that confusion out of the penalty box really fast. Montana being told to call it.
And she does before any points can get scored for Colorado.
Yeah, Coach Bushwhacker knows knows how to make sure that you can hear him across the arena. So incredible.
Oh, and I got to thank you for correcting myself yesterday. For yesterday, I apologize because those Magic City girls are a blast.
That is what we're here for. Tammy Gunn, Death Nelly, your announcers for this fantastic game. We only have 2 minutes, 20 seconds left on the game clock. Now, Montana in control with the clock stoppages. Colorado has used all 3 of theirs, so they aren't going to be able to call for any extra jams if needed, but Montana certainly can.
And it looks like Texas Twister is back in for Team Montana.
Oh, Blazin going down, and that's going to cost her a high block call to the penalty box.
And Sparta Crush is in front, but could she keep that? I mean, this is an out-and-out fight, but it looks like that was a high block.
Ooh, Sunny Day sent to the penalty box. There is only one Colorado blocker out in the pack.
That is a terrible feeling. And look,
we're trading
at this point
places.
there are no Colorado blockers. Oh, they just came back on the track.
What an effort here. That is Motorbutt, who is staying on the track, but now being called off. So now number 6'4" of Colorado, that's Vinny Vidivici. Oh, getting tripped up, or rather tripping up her own jammer.
And we've got Stout up front. She is running that tripod like she does. I think they kept her off the track a little bit because she was in penalty trouble, but now Montana says, what have we got to lose? We've got Stout. She's an incredible player and always has been. Just
Shark.
an asset to this Montana
Yeah,
team.
Shark Wahlberg out on her initial. I mean, it makes sense for Montana just to run this one out. It's certainly a jam win for them on this one. Colorado finally getting back into their defensive groove, but look at that track awareness by Sparta Crush, able to stay inbounds, no problem with the 4 points from that last one, making it 16 points total.
Looks like Sparta Crush just ran away with this game.
It is non-stop penalty box action as Blazin makes another trip sitting beside Motor, but that game clock winding down last 25 seconds, last 8 seconds for the jam clock, so this will wrap up this bout. And what an effort by Team Montana. Woo!
And it
Taking
looks
full
like
control.
the Battle of the Rockies has been won. We're going to look at this unofficial score coming up, and it looks like we're still kind of ticking away at some points.
Wow, Montana, an incredible last jam effort, 20 points. Woo! And lots of love on the stream, makes sense. I know what it's like being far away from the action. Normally in Saskatchewan, where my home is, where we play against Colorado, we share that border. We love Montana. We also I personally love Colorado. They're always a fun team to watch. I'm so lucky that I get to call their games, Tammy.
Oh my goodness.
But there's that unofficial score.
115 to 160 in favor of Team Montana. And there are some smiles, there's clapping, and I'm sure again that there's some hearts pounding through chests, and this feed is just blowing up. You know, great fights from Colorado. We've got Doppelganger on there. I can just see her blowing that up. Love to hear from you. But
And
this is incredible.
You know what, Tammy, I'm going to throw this out there because this is definitely going to be one of those bouts that's going to be tricky to pick an MVP. We are going to take a quick audio break to do that with some of the other announcers and officials. But if you on the stream would like to throw out your vote, who knows? Do it.
Yeah.
Throw your vote in there. Who do you think for MVP, blocker or jammer? Doesn't matter because all of these skaters are amazing. We're going to announce that in just a moment. Tammy and I will be right back. All right, thank you so much for sticking around, loving your votes. Maybe some of you will be excited to hear the MVP choices. I will call out the ones for Team Colorado. The MVP for Team Colorado is number 71, Sunny Days.
And for Team Montana, this is probably not going to come as a surprise to many of you because you've been shouting her out all day. That's going to go to number 12, Foggy.
Definitely an incredible effort. Your final score of 160 to 115, Team Montana over Colorado. And you know what? We haven't even had a chance to calculate who goes where from here. So the best way to do that, to make sure that you're dialed in, you can just stay logged on onto this Twitch stream the entire time. That works really well.
I believe.
Or you can check out Battle of the All-Stars 2020 on social media.
Team Montana's going to go right ahead and play Team Texas as far as I can recall.
So
that's going to be a great battle.
Oh, wow, Tammy, you are so lucky you're going to get to call that. I'm Death Nella, joined by Tammy Gunn, and we're going to wrap things up. New England Roller Derby Report would like to thank their production sponsor, Sociopath. Sociopath is a skater-run business offering size-inclusive leggings. I want to shout that from the rooftop, and shorts designed to fit you with 7 different lengths and pockets. She's sure, I know, just like breathe that in there. She is sure to have a style that works for your body. Team colors, custom prints, and group discounts are available. Also offering dozens of armband and helmet cover options. She's got you covered, so please see sociopath.ca/NERD for 10% off your next order.